loyal, brave, and true. From gardener to greatness, Sam captured the hearts of many when he threw Frodo over his shoulder and trudged up the treacherous Mount Doom.
I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you!
Starting with the basics, we know that Sam is of course going to be a halfling. Now, for the subrace, I would normally choose Lightfoot for the Hobbits of the Shire. However, Sam is inexplicably hardier and stronger than the rest of the Hobbits in the Fellowship, so I'm going to choose Strongheart Halfling to represent this difference. For starting class, we're going to go Bard, just like we did with Frodo. And for the starting cantrips, we're going to go with Vicious Mockery, because although Sam is generally a polite and kind hobbit, when someone threatens his friends...
Let it go! Or I'll have you, long shanks!
And we'll also go with Blade Ward, which is a functional choice and represents Sam's toughness. For the starting spells, we're going to go with Disguise Self, which can represent the Elven Cloak and the Ring, because if you recall, Sam does take the ring from Frodo when he believes him to be dead. Long Strider, although Sam isn't the fastest of the group, he can hustle when needed. Animal Friendship, to pay homage to Sam's love of Bill the Pony. And of course, Heroism, to represent Sam's unfaltering bravery. Now for starting instrument, I couldn't find anything specifically suggesting that Sam ever did play an instrument, but we know at Bilbo's farewell party, there were, and I quote, trumpets and horns, pipes and flutes, and other musical instruments. So we're going to go with flute, as that seems like that's a possibility. For background, I'll admit that none of them are a perfect fit. However, Folk Hero gives you animal handling and survival. Animal handling is a good fit because of Sam's affinity for ponies, and his gardening experience and therefore plant knowledge is good for survival. Now for ability scores, we are going to focus on a high strength and constitution to make him kind of a tanky halfling, plus high strength means a better carrying capacity. So for strength, we're going to put the +2 here, and we're going to bring this up to 17, which will be evened out later. Dex, we're just going to keep at 10. Sorry, Sam, you're just not that dexterous. Constitution, we're going to put the +1 here and bring this up to 16. Intelligence, sorry, we got to tank something here, so intelligence is going to be the one we tank at 8. Wisdom, we'll bring up to 10. And charisma, we will put at 13. And yes, it is uneven. There wasn't a great way to do the scores here, but there are ways to even out the charisma later on. For skill proficiencies, again, we get animal handling and survival from our background. For our 3 choices for the class, we are going to go with persuasion, due to him being good at encouraging and uplifting others. Nature, due to him being a gardener. And insight, due to him being good at reading others. Now we'll move on to appearance. Firstly, we'll choose the correct body type, which is type 2. Keep identity of male. Voice 1, I would recommend, as it sounds the closest. None of them are quite right, but I would say that is the best choice. Now for the face, we're going to go with head 5. Now, obviously, this isn't a great match to Sean Austen's Sam, which is the one we're basing this off of. However, Sam was the heaviest set of all of the hobbits, and since we're doing all the hobbit builds, I want to set him apart a little bit looks-wise, so we're going to use head 5 to make him stand apart a little bit. For skin color, we're going to go with warm tone 2, give him a little bit of color. For eyes, this was actually really difficult. I am struggling to identify what Sean Austen's eye color actually is, because depending on what light he's standing in, it seems to change. Therefore, I'm going to go with Hazelnut 3, because sometimes it's brown, and sometimes it's kind of blue, and sometimes it's green. Then we'll skip down to hair, and we will go with the same haircut we gave Frodo, which is Bramble Thicket. It's the only one that really gets across the right length, volume, and waviness. For the color, we're going to go with Blonde Gold 5, like a dirty blonde color. But we're going to use highlights to bring a little more brown in. We'll go with Brown 2, and we're going to bring that up to 50%. All right, and since there's no facial hair for hobbits, that will do it for appearance. On to the build. Starting at level 2, we are going to continue with Bard. That will unlock a level 1 spell slot, Jack of all trades, Song of Rest. For this spell slot, we are going to grab Charm Person. Now this is more appropriate for the character than the other choices available here due to his attempts to solve problems amicably, but you could go with Sleep as a funny flavor win since he can't stop telling Mr. Frodo to get some rest. At level 3, we're going to stay in Bard and get our subclass. First, we'll grab our spell, which is going to be Calm Emotions, keeping in mind that Sam would rather de-escalate than escalate a situation. For the subclass, we are going to go with College of Valor. This is appropriate for Sam as it provides combat inspiration, and Sam is the master of inspiring others. Level 4, we need to take a new cantrip. We are going to take Light, which will be representative of the Light of Elendil from Galadriel, which he uses to fight off Shelob. We also need to take a spell here, and we will take Invisibility. Now, the reason for this is, although this is not covered in the movies, while Sam had the ring with him after taking it from Frodo because he thought he had been killed, he actually wore the ring several times over the course of 2 days. And then for the first feat, we're just going to go with good old ability score improvement here. We are going to bump up that strength to 18 and the charisma to 14, therefore evening everything out. Level 5, and this is going to be our last level in Bard. We're just going to grab one more spell, which is going to be Plant Growth, which is paying homage to him being a gardener. Now at level 6, it is time to multiclass, and we're actually multiclassing into Barbarian. Now, I can see the eyebrows raising here, but let me explain the choice. Firstly, continuing with Bard doesn't make any sense here as it gets more into spell casting past level 5 and the functional and thematic choices are running thin. Also, Sam is the tankiest and toughest of the hobbits, and lastly, Sam actually has some instances of going into a type of rage. So at level 6 and level 1 Barbarian, you unlock Rage, an additional rage charge, and unarmored defense. At level 7, nothing we have to do here, just unlocking Danger Sense and Reckless Attack. And at level 3 Barbarian, it's time to choose the subclass. And there's probably going to be some eyebrows raised here as well because we're going to go with Wild Heart. Keep in mind though that Wild Magic makes absolutely no sense whatsoever for this build, and Berserker you could kind of argue for a little bit, but it's not so much that he goes into a frenzy, but rather just a rage. Also, Wild Heart gives us access to Bestial Heart, and Bear Heart is a nice flavor win here for the rough and tough Sam. While raging, you can use Unrelenting Ferocity and have resistance to all damage except psychic damage. What you do want to make sure you do though is under appearance here, check it off to none so that he doesn't get those piercings. Now at level 9 for the character, it is time to choose another feat. We are going to go with Lucky. I feel like I shouldn't have to explain this one, but Sam gets lucky in many scraps that could have proven deadly. At level 10 or 5 Barbarian, we are just unlocking some features here, which is extra attack and fast movement. At level 11 and 6 Barbarian, it is time to choose the animal aspect. And no surprise here, we are going to go with Bear. And this is very fitting. If you look at the description of this one, your carrying capacity is doubled and you have advantage on strength checks. And this definitely makes sense for Sam. And at our final level, which is level 12 or level 7 Barbarian, we just unlock the class feature of Feral Instinct. And that is it for the build. Let's move on to the bonus section. Sam does not have any special weapon or piece of armor, but there are a few items to recommend, as well as some overall tips. The Shifting Corpus Ring can serve as a representative of the One Ring. The Moon Lantern can be a stand-in for the Light of Elendil. You can't use frying pans as weapons, but if you'd like the next best thing, you can have him dual-wield a short sword and a salami. For whatever cloak you decide to wear, you can use the pale green dye to make it look like an elven cloak. Make sure that what you equip doesn't count as light, medium, or heavy armor because it will negate the AC bonus from Barbarian. You can toggle your character's appearance to show camp clothing instead of equipment at all times, which will likely appear more fitting, and you can remove the character's shoes for an extra flavor win. And that will do it for the Sam build. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a comment. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. We're on our way to 700. And please stay tuned for the next Lord of the Rings build. Thanks for watching.